Let's make it a little lower so we stop our feedback. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Who can hear me? Let's get this started. Oh, I know why. Hang on. I'm going to mute that. Okay. So, let's see. I want to welcome you to this Facebook Live. I am Stephanie Heller from Elite Personal Chef, the page you are on right now. And today we're going to do a fun live stream on money and how to get into a good relationship with money in your business and not be afraid of tracking your expenses and seeing where you're at and kind of making this harder than it needs to be. So I just want to make sure everyone can hear me and that we are getting a good recording. If you are on the live, if you could just make a comment, tell me your name, where you're calling from, where you're watching from, making sure you could hear me, that would be great. Can y'all hear me? I'm just gonna write that down. Okay, let's get talking about some stuff. So I posted 2 documents in the feed of this, but I'm going to also post them here. And these 2 are resources that we're going to go over on how to track your income and stuff like that. So the first one is going to be the personal finances tracking sheet. Let me just put it in the feed right here. Okay, good, you could hear me. Perfect. So that's the first document. Actually, let me edit that really quick. This is the personal finances tracking. And then the second one is going to be the business income and expense tracking. Let me give you guys that one. And just make sure. Okay, this is it. Perfect. Okay, shareable link. So these are in a Google Drive that you guys can view. If anyone wants to double click just to make sure you guys can open it, that would be awesome. Okay, so the first thing is money. We all need it and want it, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what's great about our business is we get to love what we do, be creative, share our skills and our love for food and helping people, and get paid really well for it. So part of having a business is being aware of all the aspects of it. It's really, really easy to just concentrate on cooking and having fun and doing food shopping and making menus and making your clients happy. And that is the basis of this business. But there is other tasks that have to happen outside of this reoccurring so you have a viable business, so you can make consistent income and that it can really support you year after year. It's like a machine that works together. So part of the things that go into that machine are marketing, sales, keeping up your skills, research, improving your communication skills, your website. All these things go into it. One of the most important things that people like to leave last, including myself, is tracking your money. Because in the beginning you think, I'm not making that much money, it doesn't really matter. or, I could just keep it all in my head. Whatever you're telling yourself about this is probably keeping you from making more money. Because if you don't track what you have, you're not going to know what to improve or what to increase or what you need to do. So that's why we're talking about this today. A lot of people also put this off because they're scared of paying taxes, or they're scared of owing money they don't have, or they didn't follow the rules and didn't put aside money for taxes. So you think, oh, the bill's going to be too big and now I have to hide it and I don't want to get a business bank account. Whatever stories you're telling yourself, it is ultimately stopping you from becoming a really self-sustaining business. So if you don't keep records, you're not a real business. You're doing it as a hobby. Even if you're doing it full time and you're not keeping good records, it's still not a real business, because part of being a real business is keeping records, paying taxes, possibly, if you wanted to eventually sell your business, you're going to need to have good, viable records. You're going to want to get a business bank account, a business credit card. You're going to want to track your income so you can qualify for a mortgage, so you can get a small business loan, whatever it is you want to do. This is a big piece of the puzzle. If you want more clients and you want more money, you have to see where you are right now so you can get to where you want to go. It's like having a map in front of you and you want to go to the Grand Canyon. You have it on the map, it's in front of you, you know exactly where it is. But if you don't know where you actually are on the map, you will not know how to get there. It doesn't even matter if you have a map or if you know where the Grand Canyon is, you're not going to be able to get there because you don't know where you are. Part of financial tracking is knowing where you are. Now, it doesn't have to be scary or overwhelming. I'm going to show you 2 templates that I use in my business that I also use for my coaching clients for them to get started to track easily. So I want to make sure everybody's on the right page. If you are with me, tell me if you could see the documents. Tarisha, I see your question. I will definitely get back to that. I'm going to teach for about 10 minutes and then I will come back to that. But that's a great question. When you should start paying yourself or just leave the money in your business. Perfect. So I want to make sure everyone can open the documents and see them. Let's just see. Anyone else? Come say hi, tell me where you are watching from, and then we will go right in. Okay, perfect. So, good. Let's keep going. So we talked about a map being you have to know where you are. It doesn't even matter where you go. And also, what I used to do in the beginning is think, I'm going to keep everything in my head, that it's not a big deal, that I don't have that many clients, maybe I had 4 or 5 clients, whatever it was, that I can keep track of the money they're giving me and the money I'm spending out. It's not a big deal. And I would keep pushing it back. I would say, every Friday I'm going to open my Excel spreadsheet and track it. And then Friday would pass and then it would be next week. And then I would say, oh, I only had 1 job this week, so I'm not going to track it. What happened was at the end of the month, I had no real good records, so I didn't know how much I was making. And then I would roll into the next month and I would feel bad about myself because A, I didn't track, and B, I thought I made no money. So basically what happens is you're keeping yourself in the dark, kind of hiding from it or just not doing it and putting it off. And you might be making money that you don't even know, or you could be spending money in places that you really don't want to or you didn't realize. So that's one thing that I used to do myself. Maybe you do it too. Tell me if that is something that you engage in now. You kind of put off the activity. You say like, oh, it's not a big deal, I'll get to it later. And then it kind of snowballs and then you don't want to touch it. A lot of people also, and I hear this a lot, women and men, is I'm not good with numbers, or Let me know if you've said any of these things to yourself. I'm not good with numbers. Um, I'm just going to hand this off to somebody else. Or this is not something I'm good at. I was never good at numbers in school, or numbers confuse me, or I don't even know what to do. I'm too scared. Do you have bills in your house that you don't even open? I would remember going to the mailbox in my apartment and getting bills, and I would never even open them because I was so scared. Half the time they weren't even bills. They were, statements or something, but I just couldn't handle it. So if that's you, let me know. And being scared of numbers is a normal thing. Um, Good, Matthew. I'm glad. Perfect. So let's just keep going. Good. Okay. Next thing I want to talk about, don't wait until there's a problem. This is everybody's natural tendency. Obviously, I mean, I do this too, and especially in the beginning when I didn't have any support system set up. Usually you wait till there's a problem, and I actually have a lawyer now that I love, but she laughs at me because every time I call her, she's like, okay, Stephanie, what's wrong? Because she knows I only call her when something's wrong, because you think, why am I going to call a lawyer if something's not wrong? Or why am I going to get an accountant or a bookkeeper or any of these like preemptive things when nothing's wrong? If you wait till something's wrong, your choices get smaller and smaller because you're going to be stressed out and you're going to think, holy shit, I have this big problem. I didn't pay taxes all year, and now I'm nervous. I'm going to be slammed with a $5,000 bill. What the hell am I going to do? And then you're asking for recommendations. You're scrambling. You could be rushing and working with somebody that you don't even know or trust or like. So my advice on this is, don't wait till something's wrong. Do it when you're have a clear head, when you're not stressed, when there's not a problem, and you will make a better decision, and you won't be scared that you're wrong or you're bad or whatever. Like, interview bookkeepers and accountants before April. I mean, they won't even take your call in April because they're so busy. So that's another thing. Um, I talked about this a little, but I was really scared to look at my numbers in the beginning, and I thought it was no big deal, and I let it go for months and months and months, and I didn't even realize I had a business going. And this happens to people. I spoke to somebody yesterday who has clients coming in, maybe two, three, four. All of a sudden, this becomes a business where you're taking in money, you're providing a service, you love what you do, and then you want to make it real, but you don't even realize kind of what's going on and what you're missing in front of you. So waiting until that happens also is, then you're scrambling and you're like, oh, I don't even have an LLC or a tax ID, and I don't have this and I don't have that. So the key is to pay attention beforehand, because you know where you want to go. Don't wait till you're there, because then you could be missing stuff. Okay. If this is just a hobby for you, which is totally fine, and you're doing it on the side, maybe because you don't have that many clients yet, or you're not sure if this is going to work, or you don't want to leave your 9 to 5, you're kind of just exploring this, that's fine also. You don't have to, but you could declare this as a hobby and have expenses toward this that you're taking off your tax return. So that's one thing. The other thing is, it's important to track, even if it is a side hobby, so you could see if this is worthwhile. So if this is something you want to even pursue. If you're just like cooking randomly for people at your church and then people down the block, just keep track of it. See where it goes. You might be surprised that, you're averaging $500 a week and your expenses are $400, and then you are literally only making $100, and then you could see, what do I need to change? What's worth it for you? So before we go into the documents, I'm going to jump over, see if anybody has questions. I'm just looking at my notes. The other thing, I used to think this a lot, is when you don't track your numbers and you're kind of in the dark about it, you think that people that have money or that are rich, or if you're working for really rich people, that they're very different from you. And your perception of money and what's possible for you is directly tied to this. So if you think rich people are bad, they're doing illegal things to get money, or you, you know, can't really see yourself in that because you think it's bad, you are like subconsciously stopping money from coming to you. Because if rich people are bad and they're mean and they treat people bad and they do illegal things and they're aggressive and they don't care about people, and you're a nice person, you're not going to want to do those things. So subconsciously, you're turning money away from you. By tracking your numbers and actually seeing that it's not a big deal, that there's less emotion behind it, that they're just numbers on a page, you could interpret it the way that you want. You get out of that story that you grew up with or that people are telling you. So let me come over to the questions. Tell me if you guys understand what I'm talking about. I can't open the docs while watching the video. Interesting. Okay, what if you try to right click and open it in a new window? It's also on the feed right under this, so you could check that out. Okay. Where did the other comments go? That's weird. Okay, M. Fairchild Clark. What's your first name? Is it Fairchild or is that your middle name? But also falling back on work on your business, not in your business. Exactly. So just like you said, as you know, owner, operator, entrepreneurs who are doing everything in your business, you need to work on and then you need to work in, because you're probably the one providing the food service still. You're probably the one doing the marketing. I mean, you're doing everything. So exactly, putting time aside for that. Okay, here's your comment. Okay, Tarisha, when just starting out, should you pay yourself or put the money back into the business? Good question. That's ultimately going to be up to you, but I'll tell you what I did in my business and what I've seen some people do that works. It's a good habit to get into paying yourself on a regular basis, regardless of how much you bring in. I know it's hard because some weeks, let's say you agree to pay yourself $500 a week, or $200 a week, whatever it is. And then that week you didn't even book a client. So you're like, how am I going to pull that money out and just pay myself? Part of it is it gets you in tune to a cycle and aware of this money's coming out, even though it's coming to me. So I need to book a client, and I'll kind of like light that fire under you. Another reason is if you are not taking money out or not taking a salary, whatever it is, and you let everything just roll into your business, you will not have the money to sustain yourself in your personal side of your life, meaning your rent or your food money for yourself or whatever it is going to be pulled out of your business, because that's where you're leaving your money. And then when you go to do taxes and you go to do other things in life, everything is going to be commingled. So even if you have a home office, you don't want to pay your rent out of your business bank account. You want to be transferring money regularly to your personal and then living your life out of that. Obviously, expenses from your business come straight from the business, but if you're not paying yourself, you either have to have money coming in from somewhere else, or you're letting your money sit in there and then just taking it when you need it, and it's never going to be enough, and it's kind of coming from the wrong place. So try to get on a schedule where you can take money out, or you are used to it. Melissa, good. Okay, that's your name. Okay, who else has a question? Did that help you, Tarisha? Tell me if you understand that. Okay, Matthew, good advice. This is why I'm managing the numbers for my wife. Well, this is my other topic. Good. I'm glad you brought that up, Matthew. When you it's different because you guys are married, but when you are new in the beginning and you say to yourself like I'm not good with numbers and you're handing it off to somebody else, it could keep you kind of in the dark about what's going on. And I love delegating. I love paying people to do things for me, but especially with money, you have to know what it's doing. It's your money. You can't just hand it off to somebody else. Like if you're in business years like 1 and 2, maybe even 3, and from day one you've been using a bookkeeper or accountant to handle your stuff to. I had a coaching client that did that, and she never knew how much money she had in her bank account. She couldn't even pay regular bills on time. She was always behind. She was completely in the dark. She was probably bringing in $1,000 a week, but it was going out faster than you can imagine, and she had no idea. She couldn't stay afloat because she didn't know what was going on, and she kept using excuses like, I don't know anything about numbers, or this is too complicated for me. I'd rather have somebody else do it. Delegating is fine, but you still have to know how to do it, because when that person disappears or they start stealing from you or you don't understand what they're saying, that falls on you. It's your responsibility to have that education about your business and about money. So even if you have somebody on your team working with you, I highly suggest you spend at least 1 to 2 hours a week on these numbers and in your business. Okay. I call it getting intimate with your books, which nobody wants to do. I mean, I don't even want to do it. But even if you're making a lot of money, I still don't want to do it. Like I don't even care. Not that I don't care, but it is still just a task for me to do. It's not exciting. It's not interesting. I don't love numbers. I'd rather be cooking. I'd rather be doing a million other things, but I do it. Tell me if that makes sense to you, if you guys, what your opinion is on that. And don't give strangers your bank account, your password, stuff like that. When you're bringing someone onto your team, like a bookkeeper, a lawyer, an accountant, an advisor, whatever it is, don't just hand over the farm. I remember this is like more financial services related, but when you go to a place like Edward Jones or a um, financial services provider, I knew nothing about it. I handed over bank account statements, passwords to absolute strangers because you trust them and you think they're running a business. I did no due diligence. I had no idea what they were doing with my money, and it was gone. And I couldn't even blame them because it was my fault. So just don't hand over the farm. It's not, making your life easier once your money disappears. Okay. I'm just bringing over my other notes. Tell me if you guys have any questions about that. We're going to pull up the first document now. Okay, perfect. I don't know, this is weird. Some comments are disappearing. That's okay. What else? You don't have to be a numbers expert. You don't have to take an accounting class. You just have to be aware and want to learn. A bookkeeper, a friend, anybody will sit down with you and help you. Don't be afraid. Okay, let's go to the first one. Personal finances tracking. If you can pull it up, I'll be referencing it and reading it along there. This is one of the documents and the templates that you actually get in my program, Culinary Client Magnet, in the Business Administration module. So it is really important because as an owner and entrepreneur, and usually a single operator, your personal life and your business are one. They're really not separated until you get much bigger and later off in the game. So when people say, why do I have to track my personal finances? I tell them that you usually are not going to have one healthy without the other. Meaning, if you are really bad in your personal finances and you don't know where your money's going and you don't understand how much your bills are, it's going to travel into your business. You will not have a smooth working business. Same goes back. If your business is running smoothly, you know where every penny is going, it's going to transfer into your personal life. It's that like awareness. So both are connected, both are you, both are your money, and you're just distributing it differently. So when I give people this exercise, they're really shocked because they don't even know where their money's going. And we'll just read through a little bit of them. When I did something like this, I was also in a coaching program where we did something like this, and I couldn't even answer most of them because since I got married, I took so many things off my plate, which I thought was amazing. I don't have to deal with this. But I didn't know how much our water bill was or our electricity bill, where when I was single, I knew all those numbers blindfolded. So I thought it was amazing that I didn't have to know this, but I didn't even know how much money we were really spending every month. So it goes through all of your basic personal expenses. If you have a partner or you live with somebody or you're married, even if you live at home with your parents, maybe sit down with them and go through this. So I have it as two columns: the expenses, the current cost, and then your goal. Because you might find out that when you go through all of this and your current costs might be higher than you want to be. Like if you have a $600 car payment every month and you want to get that down to 400, you would write that in your goal. So go through this. They're basically, and you could add stuff at the end. You can make another line: your car payment, gas, car insurance, car maintenance. This also taps into what can be deducted and what cannot be, and we'll go over that on the other sheet. Meals and entertainment. This is for your personal life. Don't think of your business for this. Massage, acupuncture, manicure, pedicure. A lot of people leave off in their personal tracking stuff like this. And this is really important because this is how you take care of yourself. And you want to be able to feel good every day. And if you need a massage every month to do it, then write it down on here. There's nothing wrong with it. Even if you feel like you can't afford it now, or if you get a massage every 6 months, but you know you want to do it every month, write that in as a goal so you can see what you need to go forward for. Waxing, hair color, fitness classes, gym. If you're paying health insurance, even if you are on your husband's plan or he's on yours, whatever it is, write that down. Clothes, shoes, and don't be shy about this. A lot of times I see people being like, oh, I spend $200 a year on clothes. And that is probably unrealistic unless you never buy clothes. But there's nothing wrong with if you want to spend $5,000 a year on clothes. Write that in your goal. Write what you're doing now. Some people use charge cards very heavily for stuff they don't need and they don't even realize it. So that could go under your current costs. Fun and vacation savings. It is so important to what I call schedule fun in and put it on your to-do list, on your calendar, in your savings. Fun is not supposed to be something that happens when everything else is taken care of. It's not a back burner thing or nobody's going to call you and hand you a vacation. They're not going to say, oh, you've been working so hard. Why don't you just go on vacation? That's something you're going to have to do yourself. You have to make it a priority and put it on here as something, an expense that's going on in your life. If it's not, you're going to leave it to the end and you're going to be like, oh, when I hit the lotto or when I have to go to a wedding, I'll go there. Like, make your fun things important too. Okay, next part, family expenses. Your mortgage and your rent, insurance for your house or your rental apartment, cleaning, pool maintenance. If you live in a sunny area like here, everyone has a pool. Maybe there's things on here you haven't even thought of, like how much you really pay your landscaper or you don't need one, whatever it is. Keep going down there. So then we do food, inside the home, meaning our grocery bills, what we pay for that, and then food outside the home, which is stuff we go out to eat for. This could be special occasions. You could, if you're doing date night once a week, that would go on there. What you're paying for internet, that could also fall under your business. So write it out either way. And again, travel and vacation for your family. If you go see your in-laws once a year in, wherever, write that down. Then if you have kids, you can write down what you pay for their school, if any, clothes for them, babysitters, medical. This is not such a huge exhaustive list. It is a good place to start. So tell me if you guys were able to view that, if you have any questions on that. Okay, perfect. Let's go over to the income and expenses one. Let me take a second, see if anyone has any questions on the personal. If you think like, why would I need to do personal tracking of expenses? Let's talk about that. If you have done this before and maybe you know your expenses really well, ultimately we're doing this also and you're going to total it at the bottom to see how much money you need to be bringing in per month. Okay, so the next document is the income and expenses. This is actually a real live example that I kept in 2009 for my business. I was, I think, 6 months in business because maybe not even. This is like my first group of clients. I would say 3 to 6 months in business in January 2009. And this is an example that I use for coaching clients. So you can add another tab. This is an Excel document. You can add another tab at the bottom and then delete all of these numbers and add your own and start it for October 2017. This is a very simple way to track your income and expenses. We'll start to walk through it and I'll give you some tips and tricks on that. First thing is, and the numbers next to it, if you see where it says like 410 PCS services, the 410 doesn't matter. That's like a code in QuickBooks or in an accounting ledger that I had. That actually doesn't matter. So the first part is going to be tracking your income. I basically, personal chef services, that's what that is. I wrote the client's name. I wrote the date of service and then how much they paid me. And then at the end of the month, this is for January, I totaled the income. It came to $1,000. Then under that goes right into expenses. I can't see anybody's comments. Weird. Okay. Then it goes into expenses. The first one is food purchases. Now you'll have to make this distinction. If a client is, usually we bill food separately. That's what I teach. That's what I hope you're doing, unless you're doing a flat rate, and we'll talk about that. But the reason why you need to track it, even if the client is paying you back, is it is either going on a business credit card or your regular credit card, and you need it to match. So it's an expense for you that you got reimbursed for. So we put the person it's for, whatever it was, recipe testing or Shira or Lynn, whatever, the place that I bought it at. This is so I could find it on my credit card. The date that it was purchased and then the amount. And then we total that up as well so you could see. And then you have to write if you were reimbursed for it or if it was included. Food prep supplies could be bags, cleaning supplies, stuff like that. That's stuff usually not reimbursed by the client. And then we go into all these different categories. I'm going to read them through right now. Some will apply to you, some will not. And it's interesting to see over the year which categories apply to you more, and then which are, you're not using at all and that you might need to look into or you could delete. So the first one is any accounting fees. This would be any bookkeeper or any accountant you might use. It's deductible totally toward the business. Any advertising or promotion. This could be any type of, and I might have this later, I do under marketing, but flyers, postcards, Facebook ads, Yelp advertising. Anything you do to advertise and promote your business could go in this category. Gas, money that you spend going to and from clients' homes, oil, any maintenance to the car, banking fees, any books, dues, memberships, if you're a part of any organizations, if you bought a course online about how to learn to do something, coaching would go under there. Anything you are doing to improve yourself and your business could go there. Insurance, liability, laundry and linen. This could be if you do it like a special treatment to do your chef's coats, stuff like that. Legal and professional fees if you have to consult a lawyer, licenses and permits. And then I have it separately, marketing brochures and flyers. I did a postcard for a special in January. I don't know, maybe it was for Valentine's Day. Office and computer supplies, anything related to how you have to do this business could go under here. If you're printing out labels for your clients, if you're doing menu cards for a dinner party, that would go here. Website hosting, stationery and printing, small business tools and equipment. If you're buying a Vitamix that's yours, that you're only going to bring to clients' homes if they need it, that would go there. Let me see this. And that could be anything you keep in your knife kit or stuff that you know that you need. Okay, perfect. Let me jump back over here. Telephone and internet, even if your cell phone is, you probably only have one phone, you're using it for business and personal, the entire phone could be deducted on there. Any taxes that you've paid so far, anything for uniform, if you buy your chef's coats, if you're buying pants, if you are shoes, anything like that. Conferences and trainings, coaching could go under there. Any if you go to like the Women's Restaurant Association, that would go under there. Any client gifts you give. This I like to do as like a thank you if they bought a 5-pack of services. I'll usually buy like a gift or a service or something for them. If you have a long-term client and a relationship and it's somebody's birthday or it's their anniversary, that will go under there. This is all deductible. Networking and business consultants. Networking it could fall under advertising and promotion, or it could go under its separate column. You want to make sure if you are going to like a mixer or a happy hour thing, keep your receipts, and that can go toward networking. So then you're going to add up all your expenses for the month, where you could see here I did the example, it was $803. And remember from the top I had made $1,000 and my expenses were $803. So my net cash flow was $197. Now you would see like you would kind of be pissed at that and be like, oh my gosh, I only made $200 for the month. But actually a lot of this food was reimbursable up here. But it's just to see a good overview of what you're bringing in and what you're spending your money on. Like you'll see that some food prep supplies, like the bags and cleaning supplies, you may be only buying once every 3 months or once every 6 months. Or you might be thinking, I'm not going to include food in my cost anymore because I see how much money I'm losing. Or my chef's fee really does need to be higher. And this is how you find out. You just lay out the numbers. No emotional attachment, no nothing. It's just numbers. So does anybody have any questions? I know I went through this a little bit fast, and you can always come back to this video. Let me know if you have questions about this. The best, simple tips that I have on this is just do it. Don't wait until there's a problem. Ideally, it's not an end of the month thing, it's a weekly thing because you're not going to be overwhelmed if you do it every week. Even, now we run, 20 jobs a week easily, maybe even 30 jobs a week. But if you do your accounting every week, it's not that crazy. What else do I have on my notes? You might be pleasantly surprised. You might think, wow, I really am bringing in a lot of money, or my expenses are really low. This is awesome. I can now spend more money on this. Maybe you were waiting to do something and now you can. Okay, who else has any questions on this? Okay, Melissa, do you have any goals for percentage of take home or percentage of reinvested in the business? I don't know if I laid it out like that, but what I wanted to start really early on was getting in the habit of pulling money out as a salary, an owner's draw for myself very early. Because if you wait on this, you will not be practiced to take money out. You'll always just let it ride, which is annoying because when you come to have something you want yourself, you're going to feel like you're taking it out of the business, and I shouldn't do that. So if you get into the habit of taking $500 every week as an automatic withdrawal that goes from your business to your personal, then you can think to your head, okay, I'm going to be making $2,000 this week for my month for my own. And then you can budget and see what you want to use that for. Once your income starts getting higher and higher, you can do it by percentages and then take out more and more. But I would suggest getting used to taking money out regularly, even if you didn't bring that money in for the week. Like if I had 2 clients for the week and I made 600, I would still pull out 500 because I know that's what I'm supposed to get every week. And then next week, I'd be more motivated to put that back. One of the ways you're going to figure out what percentage you want to take home or reinvest is by tracking consistently for 3 to 6 months to even see where the money's going and what you have coming in. Give me like some idea. Do you have things that you want to invest in your business that you've been holding off on, or have you been taking money out twice a month, monthly, to pay yourself? Tell me kind of what you're doing now, and I'll see if that is helpful. But good question, really good question. All right, let me see if I can refresh these comments. Facebook Live is a little bit slow, but it is magical that we can talk on here. Right. Okay. Let's do one final call for questions. If you're watching this on a replay, you can always put your questions in the comment. I will come back here because I'm notified if somebody writes a comment. Everybody wants money, but then they're scared of it when they have to look at it. So try to come to a simple place in your mind and in your heart that this is possible for you, and that real business owners look at their numbers and they track their income. If you do need help with this, reach out to a professional. Do interviews, find somebody you trust, get good recommendations. I have worked with a couple people over the years. I've worked with absolute strangers I didn't trust to people that I trusted very much and that have helped me tremendously. So it's just a process of getting started. So today we talked about tracking your personal finances, your business income and expenses. I hope this has helped you guys and you feel a little bit better about it. If you have any quick questions, pop them in here. I'll come back to it later. And use the documents I gave you. If you want to add some stuff to them, feel free. If you want to give some feedback on what you find out, that would be good too. I've had people be like, I never thought of tracking how much I dye my hair, and then they see that they're dyeing their hair 6 times a year for $300 each. Like they didn't even know it was going on. Okay, I see what you wrote. I essentially take my deposits for dinner parties into checking account, which covers the food costs and pays me what's left over. Then the remainder, 50%, goes into savings, which is for business expenses. I need to get an LLC and tax ID and buy my business name. Okay, let me read that again. You take your deposits for the dinner parties into a checking account. Is that a business checking account? That covers the, I would assume so. It covers the food cost and it pays what's left over. All right, so that's what you're leaving in there. And then 50%, meaning what you get after the dinner party's over, goes into your savings, which is for business expenses. Okay. What do you mean by your business name? Do you mean like register it or get a business license? But yeah, if that works for you. Okay, so then where are you paying your personal expenses out from if you're not taking out money on a regular basis? That would be the question. And is it coming from your both or business? Okay, so if you're pulling, so where are you paying your rent and your mortgage from or your personal expenses? That's the only thing that tends to happen when you're letting everything ride all the time in that account. Like I would wait and then I would have no money left in my personal, and then I would pay my car payment out of my business and like all sorts of weird stuff. Okay. So you're paying it from that account. Oh yeah, so exactly. You would ultimately lean toward, as you move forward and as you grow, splitting them, because you're doing, yeah, exactly what I did and exactly what most people do is they live out of that account. And then when you go and get bigger, you're really commingling your stuff and you don't want to. So try that. All right, good guys. Excellent, excellent. Good questions. Watch the replay. Let me know what you find out from tracking your income and expenses. And I will catch you guys soon. Bye.